Greetings to everybody out there. So today we are going to see about UGC NET Paper 1 Teaching Aptitude Part 3. So I have already done with Part 1 and Part 2 videos. We have started with the topic Teaching Aptitude and where like education and the teaching concepts has been covered. So if you have missed, kindly go through Part 1 and Part 2 videos. So this is Part 3. We are going to deal with objectives and effective teaching practices. So, what is first about effective teaching practices? So, first thing is what are the objectives of teaching? So, the objective of teaching and learning must integrate at the end of an instruction. So, obviously, there are like two main ways of classifying instructional objectives. So, one classification is given by Bloom, whereas another classification is given by Gagne and Briggs. So the first one, the Bloom's classification of teaching and instructional objectives, we have three domain. So first is the cognitive domain. It is related to development of intellectual capability, that is, it is related to thinking or knowledge like that. And the other two domains, affective and psychomotor, also require this cognitive domain. So obviously the first is to be noted is the knowledge. So it's basically about recalling information and contents that you have already gone through nor you study. And the next is comprehension, is where it's the ability to grasp the meaning of the material. And the application is where this converts the abstract knowledge into practice. And analysis is where it involves breaking down a communication into its constituent parts in such a manner that the relationship between the ideas is understood better. And we have something called the synthesis, where it's basically about combining these constituent parts to make it as a whole. So it is just an antonym of analysis. And evaluation, so evaluation, it involves the judgment made about the value of methods and materials for like a particular purpose. So mostly this cognitive domain is nothing but it is more of your knowledge and thinking. So obviously a teaching and its instructional objectives are like mainly based on this cognitive domain. This cognitive domain, it is where the students of Bloom's like Anderson and David have like rearranged this and gave some 6 levels. Like the first one would be remembering, where recall or retrieve the previously learned information. And understanding is where comprehending the meaning or like translation of that is already learned. And applying is where use this concept in new situations and apply it in a right situations in the workplace. And analyzing is where it separates a material and the concepts into like component parts, so that it's like in organizational structure, maybe like it is easy to understand. And evaluating is where making adjustments about the value of ideas or materials. And creating, that's where building a structure or pattern like from diverse elements. So all these put together, it's like the newly framed Bloom's taxonomy given by the students. And we have the affective domain. So the affective domain, as all of us know, man is a rational animal with human qualities like love, some sympathy, tolerance, or any new feelings or similar things. So the term affects has like literally meaning of feeling or emotions towards some subject. So an individual has to develop and nurture desirable positive attitudes and interest for his or her own for better adjustment in the society. So under effective domain, we have something, the receiving. So obviously every teaching has to, I mean, the student must have the willingness to listen. And responding is where the willingness to participate. Valuing is where the willingness to be involved. Organizing is where the willingness to be an like advocate for an idea. Characterization is where the willingness to change one's behavior or the way of life. And last but not the least, we have the psychomotor domain. So this psychomotor domain is where it is mainly concerned with the acquisition of the technical skills. So we have the imitation, where it includes demonstration of a skill by a skilled person. and the learner tries to follow the same. And manipulation is where the learner tries to experiment various aspects such as manipulating machinery, equipment, etc. Precision is where accuracy in performing various acts increases with practice. Articulation is where achieving a desired level of efficiency and effectiveness through this practice. And naturalization is where the skill is internalized and every individual is like able to adapt, modify, and design new techniques, methods, or procedures according to the requirement of the situation. So obviously Bloom's classification of teaching is like covered all the domains. So cognitive is where completely knowledge based, effective is where like it is kind of emotion or the willingness to like to engage in it, and the psychomotor is where the technical skills where people have to, I mean people tend to like learn and practice through the technical aspects to gain knowledge. Next, we have the Gagné and Briggs classification of teaching and instructional objectives. We have the intellectual skills, where these skills are crucial for dealing with the environment. So they include the concept of learning, rule, and the problem solving capacity. And the cognitive strategies, where these include the methods and techniques of one's own learning, remembering, and the thinking skills that is completely related with knowledge. And the verbal information is where it refers to organized bodies of knowledge that an individual acquires. And the motor skills is where they are basically about motions carried out when a brain, nervous system, or muscles work together. So obviously for any teaching and instructional objectives, all of these works together. The attitude is where they refer to an internal state of an individual. So these are the two two concepts, two classifications that are given by Bloom and Gagné and Briggs. Next, we go into the effective teaching practices, that is the maxims of teaching. So the maxim is a ground rule for a fundamental principle where every teaching must be like from simple to complex, because they have to start with the simple ideas, and then as days goes by they can go to the technical terms which will be easy to understand. From known to unknown is nothing but it relates to the, like it's similar to the first maxim where retention is always like new knowledge can be linked for what it is unknown. From known to unknown and from seen to unseen is where like students should be imparted knowledge about the present, and then they can understand the past and the future. So it must be from concrete to abstract, where the mental development of the students have been better with the concrete objects. Then they become familiar, and then with the like any micro words at a larger stage. Then from particular to general, where the student should present with examples first, and then the laws, and then the derivations can be explained. From whole to part, where Gestalt's psychologists have like have proved that we first see the object and then its parts, like we first see the tree, then its branches or leaves, etc., like that. From indefinite to definite is where a teacher should transform the indefinite knowledge into a definite knowledge and aim to clarity and give some clarity to the doubts of the students. And from psychological to logical, it is nothing but during the initial stages psychological order is more important, whereas for grown-up learners logical order is emphasized one. And from analysis to synthesis, where initially the students have little or like vague knowledge about the topics. Analysis means like dividing the problems into constituent parts, but synthesis means like understanding by connecting the knowledge acquired through these analysis of parts. So it just comes followed by the other. The follow nature is where it means to regulate the education of pupil according to his nature. Training of senses is where the sense, sight, sound, taste, smell, and touch are the gateways for knowledge. So it is better if all the maxims of the senses can be applied in teaching. And Montessori and Froebel are the main components of this maxim, that is the training of senses. Encouragement of self-study is like Dalton's system is based on this self-study. And these are about the effective teaching practices, that's the maxims of teaching. So we come across the principles of teaching. There are two general principles of teaching. The first is there are two types, closely related maxims, that is the general and the psychological. So for principles of teaching, general principles, obviously a teaching must have that is, it is mandatory to be having these principles, like the principle of motivation. So it creates curiosity among students to learn new things. The principle of activity is where it includes both physical and mental activities. For example, students are asked to make their charts and models. So, obviously, a teaching is a principle of activity, and principle of linking with life. Since life is a continuous experience, and learning linked with life is like more enduring. And principle of definite aim. So this is important for optimum utilization of teaching resources and making learning like more focused. And principle of recognizing individual differences. Every student is unique in terms of intelligence, aptitude, ability, etc. So teachers method should be devised in such a manner that all the students are like get avail equal opportunities in life. And principle of selection is where the horizon of knowledge is like expanding every single day. The teacher should be able to like pick contents that can be more relevant and update to the learner's objectives. And principle of planning. So each teacher has certain time bound objectives, and hence teaching should be systematic to make like optimum use of resources that's available. And the principle of division is where like to make learning easier, the subject should be divided into units and should be linked with bit, and there should be some link between the units. And the principle of revision. So to make learning enduring, the acquired knowledge should be revised immediately and repeatedly. And the principle of creation and recreation is where this principle is a must to make the classroom environment humorous and creative. Principle of democratic dealing is where it involves students in planning and executing different activities. So it helps in developing self confidence and self respect among the learners. So these are the general principles of teaching. Next, we have the psychological principles. It's nothing but the principle of motivation and interest. So, a teacher need to like understand that every student is unique and has a unique psychological entity. So, and a student can be like motivated after identifying his or her motives and needs. And the principle of recreation. Recreation is necessary to tackle fatigue after attending lengthy classes. So this breaks the monotony and prepares students for like learning again. The principle of repetition and exercise. So this is especially true in case of small children. The principle of encouraging creativity and self expression. So this is specifically applicable in subjects such as like maths, languages, etc. So principles of sympathy and cooperation. So this principle is required for the motivation of the students. So principle of reinforcement is where the students be suitably rewarded for their desired behavior. Principle of imparting training to senses. So the use of multimedia makes many senses get involved simultaneously, which is crucial for enduring learning. And principle of remedial teaching is where this principle is necessary for the teacher to identify the mistakes and suggest for better answers to the problem. So these are the psychological principles of teaching, and we come across the effective teaching behavior. So for an effective teaching behavior, the following aspects are like very important. The first comes the teaching for understanding rather than exposure. So obviously, most often teachers teach for exposure rather than in-depth understanding of students. So the teacher should focus on less number of big ideas that are important to critical thinking. Next comes the explicit instruction. So teachers should share those big ideas with students and repeat them often, so that the students should learn what they are going to, they should know what they are going to learn and rationale behind them. There should be some connectivity between the new material with the already learned material. The scaffolded instruction is where the teachers initially provide the students with the required support. This support is gradually reduced as students demonstrate competence in working independently. So these are the effective teaching behavior. Last but not the least, we come across the 4 dimensions for effective teaching behavior. The first one is clarity. So clarity is where for effective teaching, obviously the first dimension is clarity. So a teacher should have clarity by means like have specified or like well planned objectives or knowledge about the subject. Must the levels of teaching must be enhanced, the techniques of evaluation can be like made perfect, and there should be a sharpness. And the second comes the variety. Obviously the teaching behavior must have some newness, motivation, sustaining attention from the students. So like the teacher's bodily gestures, the teacher's movement in class, self activity of participations, the audiovisual aids that are being used, all these are like very important. The third point is where the task orientation, that's mostly in class. So obviously the approach towards the practical and better life has to be like made implemented through your lectures, so that they are like goal oriented or action directed, and where achievement or like completion of task is a must. So and the last point is where the engagement in learning task. So obviously it is like self directed goals and drawing new experiences. So the students like are learning a developmental activity, so they should develop concentration. The teacher should like complete specified, should make the students complete the assigned homework or task on time. So like the teacher should guide the students to have some self-directed goals. So these are the 4 dimensions of effective teaching behavior. So that's the end of part 3, and in the next video I'll be posting about the methods of teaching. So we will deal in detail about the methods of teaching, which is another important unit. So an important part of the first unit, teaching aptitude. So to get further notified, kindly subscribe to Just Subject Matters. Thank you.